Hey there, YouTubers. Alright, so guess what time it is. Things aren't really lined up good for this, I guess, but let me see if I can get this in there. The light might be a little too bright, but time to install on our AsRock Z690 motherboard the good old Intel I5-12600k, right? So some of this stuff's been sitting around for a while now, and we're finally getting to it. Now, a lot of stuff you need to make this work out right. Not only do you either need a compatible CPU cooler, or you need one that requires a kit, right? So we're going to use, and hopefully this thing's up to the tasking. I've got a, if you guys can see that, Noctua NH-U12S, and according to the website, this is the kit that's compatible. So we have a few other kits here. Eventually you'll see some other 12th gen on the channel. I did actually buy these, so the next ones I'm getting for free, right? Because now I have the 12th gen chip. I've got the 12th gen motherboard, everything we need for Noctua to hook us up. So you'll see on here, where is it? NH-U12. This is the 12S, but according to the website, this one's compatible, right? So we're going to keep these directions out. We'll probably need them at some point. So we're also going to use Noctua thermal compound for this build. We're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver. Let me grab that. I didn't get that yet. Alright, two different sizes. Not that one, for this, they're both going to be good. Now, super stoked, folks. This is, one of the best CPUs out there for gaming. One of the best CPUs out there for a lot of stuff, right? So, let's go ahead and put our CPU in first. And basically, we're going to pop this thing open. And there's our CPU, okay? Now, you've got the cover here. This is something you'll want to throw in the box in case you ever happen to take the CPU out, sell the motherboard, whatever. I do a lot of that. This guy this is a little different, a little beefier. Intel going beefier, huh? So that didn't lift up at all. Uh-oh, these are, this is different, folks. Maybe I should have watched a video on installation. Triangle here, triangle there, okay? So I didn't read the top of this. Usually these things say, leave the cover on. So we're going to assume that's the case. So they're going opposite direction, and interesting. So a lot of times, if you are worried about putting this in wrong, Intel usually has some grooves somewhere in here that line up with your motherboard. And in this case, folks, they're top and bottom, okay? So, like I said, the triangle, if you look at the bottom, AMD has another triangle on the bottom of theirs, but Intel does not do that. So, alright, so we got to get this thing in here without damaging it. And it appears to be in there. Yes, so I put this down and hope to God we don't destroy this thing. So this is different, folks. Yours truly may just have to take a moment and go watch another channel, because actually it says remove it. Let's see if we have to remove it. Yeah. Okay, so years of doing it one way, Intel has changed it up, and now you remove the plastic gizmo ahead of time. So we will hold on to both these, put them in our motherboard. Now, let's look at the let's look at our instructions. All right. Because I'm wondering if they will tell us to use more than 4mm diameter thermal paste on here. So we need to get out these parts, okay? So we're going to get all these parts out. See if we can get this to focus. Focus and finish. So we'll need all these. Let's get that out first. Now I could go Chromax, folks, or I can go with this kit, right? So first thing we're going to do, put this on the back. You'll notice that this is symmetrical, pierce both axes, right? So that's good. And Noctua, or excuse me, Intel of course has a square pattern, unlike AMD, and there's benefits to both patterns. If you ever want to have that discussion with me, we can talk about that. As somebody that's designed plenty of bolt patterns, I can tell you all about it. Alright, now I can make assumptions about why Intel does what they do. So some people might put thermal paste on here already, but the fact is you can get your fingers and stuff in the thermal paste, so it's best to wait till all the brackets are on, okay? Now, that was step one. Step two is we want to grab all of our, some people call these standoffs, some people call them spacers, and these guys call them plastic spacers, blue plastic spacers. So you put these on. There's 4 total. And sometimes, you know, their tolerance between them is pretty tight, so you have to push them on there, but in this case you don't. Alright, so now we need our bracket, folks. Mounting bars, and you want to make sure it's oriented the right way, right? So these could go on here 4 different ways, right? So what you have to do is pull out your CPU cooler at this point and figure out what's the right direction. So I'm just going to arbitrarily throw these on there, right? This may or may not be the right orientation. Let's grab the CPU cooler. Alright, while I'm getting that out of the box, hey, who thinks that I should have went with the 140mm version for an i5? I've been kind of curious. I've never ever had to do 140, or I've really never felt like the i5s have needed 140. Now if you overclock, it's another story. Alright, so here's our fan, okay? This is the intake side. Okay, lately I've seen some fans that actually have arrows on them that show you the direction. This does not. So we want the intake side basically where the RAM is, right? And exhausting on this side and out the back. So did we put this on, folks? Right? No, we did not. So before you tighten those down, you always want to check, right? That's why I did that. I purposely did it that way. Now we can go ahead and tighten these down. And I was kind of curious, to be honest with you, if there's any difference between the nuts in this set and the ones that come with the actual CPU cooler, right? Because what a pain in the butt that's going to be. You buy one of these now where you've got the 2 kits inside of it and all these spacers, 3 sets of spacers. This is what what was in there. And it looks like the same nut, so I would have to say, folks, that you probably don't have to worry about that. Hang if I can get it on there. Promise you I'm not trying to drag this video out any longer. We're already at what, the almost the 10-minute mark. So I could do this a lot faster if I'm not talking. But in this case, you know, with a new CPU, just take your time, folks. You know, this is where people say, "Oh, it's not a race, right?" You know, there's nothing. Oops. No big hurry. You don't want to screw anything up. Okay. So I would say this should probably go with a number 2 at a minimum on this. And you do want these on here nice and tight. Now you can see there ain't a whole lot of clearance on this. It's kind of scary. AsRock. Now a lot of people ask me, why do I buy AsRock? Well, they're affordable, folks. And even though the quality isn't the best, I haven't had one fail on me, where I've had lots of gigabytes, MSIs, all kinds of other motherboards fail. So, and I'm not sponsored by AsRock, so we're gonna take this off, and the smart thing would be not to do it right over the motherboard, right? In case we drop it. So I'll pop that off. And why am I doing this? Because you have to access these screws. Okay, there they are, both sides, and that fan gets in the way. Now, I have a lot of other Noctua CPU coolers, and I really, honestly, kind of wish I had gone with a bigger one. But so, just lining that up, kind of want to see that it is making contact, or close to making contact, so when it tightens down it will be on there. Alright, one last thing to check, folks. This appears to be a bigger CPU. How much thermal paste do they tell you to put on? They actually tell you to do it differently. See that? If there are residual traces of thermal paste, blah blah blah. Okay, I'm going to apply 5 small dots, 4 dots with 2 millimeters near the corners, plus 1 dot with 3 to 4. So, whoa, this is definitely a lot more than the standard, right? The standard is right at 4, I think, in the middle for, you know, all the last few CPU generations. So we're going one big pile in the middle, and I hope I have enough thermal paste in here. Okay, right about there. And this is definitely going to go over the side, which sucks. I hate that when it happens. So we could track that back in a little bit. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put that on there. And it looks like the cats want in from outside. What are you guys doing? Hey, psst, open the door, come on. You've got this figured out. So they, it's funny, they can get into a lot of stuff, but the outside door is so heavy, they ain't figured out how to get in. Alright. Oh, there they go. 2 of them together. You got it? Now let your sister in. I'm a dog person, folks, by the way. Alright, so I was excited to get this pretty much on my lunch break from my normal duties. So when you're doing this cooler, you want to not tighten one side down too much, because then it makes it impossible to do the other side. And then sometimes you got to apply a little bit of force. There we go. So they're both started. Now I'm going to use my other I didn't lose it. The other Phillips head. Switch to the other side. So if it made much of a difference, I would put a second fan on here, right? The only thing that really is going to matter is a second stack or a bigger stack. So we do have, I've got an i5-12600k that has the 140 millimeter version of this, and so that one is probably going to end up getting a switch out at some point. But for today's video, we're going with this. Alright, so before I clamp this on, I'm going to go ahead and attach this. Now, you've got two headers for a CPU fan, which is nice if you have the dual tower, dual fan version of this, right? And you don't have a splitter. So we're just going to go ahead and attach this first and then put it on. If I can do it without. Okay, now that we've done that, folks, let's go ahead and put this on. A lot of times you have to put your RAM on ahead of the CPU cooler. In this case, we've got clearance to the one that we need to. And voila, that's on, folks. We're good to go. Thanks for checking out the video. I will have all kinds of gaming videos. Maybe I'll do benchmark video or two. Who knows what we'll do. There's so many things we could do with this CPU, but a lot of gaming videos. I hope you guys will check those out. I'll try and put some links down below. Maybe if I get motivated, I'll put a link down to every graphics card that I pair it with, which is obviously going to be a lot over the course of this channel, because I did a lot with the i5-11600k, not as many as I normally would do. Now I have even more CPUs, more graphics cards, tons of graphics cards, and so we are basically going to pair them up and make videos. Alright? That'll be what I do this weekend. Thanks for checking out the video. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you.